Okay, everyone, we have reached Wednesday on Celtic AM. Just me on today's video, rattling through all of the latest Celtic
Oh,
news. Oh, farf. It's Stevie, everyone! He's back!
I heard you were really desperate. How low have you sunk?
Well, I'm just thinking I think we're over 2,000 subscribers, or certainly close to that. How far do you think it's going to dip over the next half an hour with you back in the channel, mate?
My reputation, you're going to get under 1,000 again. Sorry, Hamish. This isn't even as low as it's going to get for you. But we'll just go along with this anyway, shall we?
How many times have we recorded this intro now? I think this is the third or fourth time, mate. It's not been a great start. It's only 20 past 8 in the morning for me. It's late at night for you. The difficulties of doing this around the world. Genuine time, everyone. Time for a genuine question because people have been asking, Stevie, how are you? How have you been for the last year or so?
I know you were telling me people are asking. I don't find it hard to believe, but I guess it just sums up the state of the world now, doesn't it? It's a weird place that they're actually asking how I am. I've been fine. I've a lot of people did always say to me, leaving snide comments saying that guy doesn't look as if he's got much of a life. All he seems to do is just make Celtic his personality, and they're actually true. They're actually correct. So that's all I've been doing. It's still just genuinely been watching Celtic and digesting as much Celtic content and terrible food as much as possible. And I've been away for Celtic, just listening to as much as Top Sport as possible. What a show! I love it. It's brilliant.
So it took you less than 2 minutes to get Talksport shoehorned into to Celtic AM. Really appreciate that one, mate. Promote other places for people to spend their mornings. How's GIGPOD been getting on? Because Stevie's from GIGPOD. The majority you probably know that. Great podcast. It's been an interesting old season to support Celtic, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been going okay. As always, Rizzo is the main man on it. We've got the two different Daniels as well on there too at the moment. And generally, can't really complain with it. People have been sticking by it despite my ultra negative views and Rizzo's ultra negative views. But I would say at the same time, we're quite realistic on how things have been at Celtic as well. When they've been playing well, we've been positive and giving them praise. But aye, it's been a let's not lie about it here. It has been, I don't want to say disappointing, it's been a very average season so far. It could get better. I think it's got a potential to be salvageable. Right now, it's not really the Celtic that we've been used to seeing in the past couple of seasons, and I know that it was never always going to be that way, especially when Ange left Hamish. But yeah, it's been a strange season, and ultimately, it feels like where we are now as a club is self-inflicted, which is the most annoying part, really.
The positives are that we're still in the midst of a title race, and we still have, I'd say, a fighting chance of winning the league. I thought we could maybe start by just chatting a little bit about the title race and where we're at. So at the moment, as we do this, we're 3 points clear at the top. I would say there's probably a fair chance that by Wednesday night, late on Wednesday, we're second in the league. Rangers are at home to Ross County. I think they need a 3 goal victory, 3 or more goal victory to go top. So I would say there's a fair chance that they're going to get that result against one of the poorest teams in the league at home. So would that matter to you going second? Does it is it a blow? Does it terrify you, or does it really matter with all these games still to go?
Yeah, I would say it does matter. I think psychologically, them winning against Aberdeen was huge for them because in the past we've seen that type of match that when they were 2-1 up, down to 10 men, did something stupid. Ultimately, they would have blown it. Especially post winter, we've seen that under previous managers. It's fair to say that I think they've got a more competent manager in Philip Clement. I wouldn't say it terrifies me. No, I fully expect Rangers to be top of the league tomorrow. And like every other season, Hamish, this is one of these ones where it's a cliche incoming, but it's about what we do. We've got to take care of our own games. I fully expect Rangers to beat the majority of the teams that they've got in the run up to the games when we play them at Ibrox, I think on the 6th of April. I fully expect Rangers to win most of their games. I would fully expect us to win most of our games as well, but yeah, it's really about what we do in that respect. There's going to be some really tricky games coming up for both sides, but for the majority of the matches, they'll win it. I would expect us to do it too, and as long as we are keeping pace, are setting pace at the top, so I care about. I mean, the main factor is in this, like I did say, if we went second, we would really struggle to recover if we drop points against Aberdeen and then drop points at Easter Road, while Rangers won their game at the weekend. And if they won tomorrow night, we'd be getting into this game against Kilmarnock, which I think is going to be difficult. I think I did say if we were in that situation, I wasn't going to say it was impossible, but it would have been really difficult for us after the way that we've played in the business and how we've conducted ourselves this season. So that one at Easter Road, while it was excruciating to watch, it was downright horrible, and to the point that I've always celebrated it, but it didn't feel like one of the, last minute winners. Like I think when you're going upwards, like a Abada one against
Ralston.
Dundee United, you know what I mean, or GG against St Johnstone, things like that, where you were going delirious when you scored. It was a total relief, but within seconds after, I mean, I was messaging you saying, "How did that happen?" So yeah, it would have been. It was a lot like that. But yeah, to answer your question, no, it doesn't terrify me. I fully expect Rangers to be going into the weekend's fixture on top, and it's really just about how we respond to it. And I'm hoping that after the weekend that it is going to be positive. But as I already said, Hamish, I think I've been speaking to you for the last sort of week and a bit about this game on Saturday, which I'm sure you want to talk about because I think it's going to be quite a challenge.
I mean, Kelly have obviously given us plenty of problems already this season, albeit in glorious sunny Ayrshire rather than at Celtic Park. Yeah, I mean, it's. I think there's twists and turns to come. I get that impression in the title race. It doesn't strike me as the kind of one that either team is going to run away with at this stage. I'm obviously very hopeful that Celtic can now find a bit of form. Do you feel like something has clicked since that late winner we got at Easter Road? Um, was anything different on Sunday against St Mirren?
Um, no, it's too early to tell. It's too early to tell. I think the standards have to be that one game against St Mirren in the cup can't be the turning point. You really have to see more. I think at this stage of the season and with the pressures and the standards we set, I think we've really got to see more than just one game, Hamish. I think we've got to see a convincing victory for a start on Saturday against Kilmarnock. And then after that, we have to then move on. I'm just trying to think who it is. It's Motherwell, isn't it, at Fir Park on the
Yeah,
Sunday. And then we've got a game in midweek against Dundee. So it's one, I know it is maybe contradicting myself because I've said that now with a Celtic team it is one step at a time. But even then, Hamish, it's not just going to be about a couple of wins. I think this Celtic team have to gain trust for what if. I mean, you've already seen what they've let slip. That's an 8 point lead. And to be honest with you, some of the performances they've put in have been criminal. So I think this Celtic team really have to go on a run of convincing victories to get people back on side so that we can start to say, yeah, fair enough. We're maybe starting to see that the Celtic team are getting somewhere. It's mad to be at this point of the season though, in February when we should have been seeing this way sooner. But at the same time, I get it. You're always going to have these points in a season as well where it's a lot of people just say it's not about the performances, it's about just getting the wins. I think that is the case first and foremost. But if you're asking me if the Celtic team have turned a corner, we really have to see more than just slogs like the 1-0 win against Ross County, the 2-1 win over Hibs, for example. It's a wee bit more like it against St Mirren, but not for the 90 minutes
yeah.
because that last half hour was a bit chaotic, frantic, and to be honest, the lack of quality on both sides was pretty alarming. Happy with the win, but being the way I am, I couldn't just fully enjoy that game of football because, up to 60 minutes, fine. But then after that, I just found it a wee bit troublesome, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it's too early to say, but hopefully, the team can kick on. It just feels like all season we've not really got that consistent run together at any stage. Maybe the only time we kind of started to do it was when the winter break hit, and that kind of came at the wrong time for us and kind of knocked us back a bit. But maybe we're going to start going in that run where we start to just pick up as we go along. Now, Stevie, you can't actually see this, but the wonderful viewers of Celtic AM can. I've got our 8 fixtures before the split alongside Rangers' 9 fixtures before the split. And I just wanted to put that on screen because it gives a bit of an insight, obviously, into the matches that both teams have over the next couple of months or so before we get into the big games after the split. And there's certainly some testing matches. I would say our run is probably slightly harder than theirs. The big ones there, Hearts away, Livingston away. If that's still a tricky one for us, I would say it's probably. We've probably come over that kind of hoodoo, but it's still one to note. Obviously, Ibrox there, the second last one. And in terms of their games, the really ones I could really see them dropping points in are struggling. Killie away is an obvious one. They've already lost there. Obviously, we've struggled there this season. And the derby against us is one we'll be looking to get a positive result as well. You never know where teams are going to slip up, and I would say certainly for us this season we've slipped up in the games that you probably wouldn't expect us to, rather than the ones you would. We've kind of been pretty solid in the really big games this season, but some interesting games in there. I mean, is there one that gives you the fear there? Tynecastle could be tough for us. Motherwell away coming up as well. I know you're terrified about the thought of Derek McInnes and Kilmarnock this weekend.
No, I'm not terrified. I said it would be a concern because you look at it already this season in Hamish. Kilmarnock has knocked us out of the cup. They've played different formations against us as well. They haven't been scared to mix it up, right? So they beat us 1-0 in the cup, playing like a 4-4-1-1 there. They went 3-5-2 against us at Celtic Park. We were beating them 2-0, and then they got the goal. And then if you remember, when they scored that goal for the next 15 minutes or so, they were excellent. They were really good. They were putting us under pressure. They could have got an equaliser. And Rizzo, who was there with me at the game, he actually came away from it saying, out of all the teams who've played at Celtic Park so far this season, Kilmarnock are by far the most impressive. They didn't just hoof the ball, they actually looked to play a bit of football, Hamish. But honestly, at 2-1, I felt as if Kilmarnock were going to come right back in the game. It wouldn't have shocked me if they got an equaliser. And amazingly enough, we scored from a corner. Greg Taylor Greg Taylor against her on a play there, right? So we won that game. And then we think back to the 2-1 game. It's all right to just say that when we're missing key players, with CCV, of course, and shambles when Nat Phillips out the back. But, they really went attacking against us that day. They went 4-2-3-1. Kennedy and Armstrong were absolutely brilliant. I mean, they really took advantage of the fact that we were struggling in the full-back areas that game. I don't know what they're going to go with on Saturday. I wouldn't be shocked if they mixed it up again. But yeah, I think Kilmarnock, if you look at them, they're on a great run now. They've not lost since the game against Rangers at the start of January. They lost 3-1. They've been on a winning run since. I think they've drew maybe a game or two, but they've been unbeaten. They're a massive threat for set pieces. As I say, they've got very good wide men as well. And then Derek McInnes, I hate to say it, but he's definitely improved as a manager. He's surprised me. He really has. And I don't want to play with use that part that the tabloids love. He's got Brendan's number, because it's not the case at all. Brendan has bodied them year after year, but he's certainly equipped his Kilmarnock side very well against us this season. And as we've seen at Celtic Park already so far, Hamish, a lot of teams come there and there's no fear at Celtic Park anymore. You just look at the teams like St Johnstone, Ross County, Motherwell. They've all came and they've all played football, and they've actually felt belief. As long as they're in the game, as long as it's 1-0, they'll probably feel that they've got a chance on them, especially with the way that we are at times at Celtic Park. I think for that game on Saturday, I wouldn't be comfortable unless we're in a commanding sort of lead. Maybe you're talking 3-0 or something, to be honest. And how bad's that I'm talking like that when we're playing at home to Killie? It would never been the case for the last few years. But no, all credit to them. I think it's going to be a really tough game. It's obviously one that I expect to win. I'm not talking here as a Celtic or the underdog, by the way. I fully expect us to win, but I do think it will be a challenge as well. Tough game.
Yeah, it's a big game. I mean, they're all big at the moment. Yeah, I mean, we did play well in that 3-1 game as well. I remember Palma scoring a really good goal. I think Hatate was kind of pretty good that day as well. So that was a good game. I think we'll have enough to get the 3 points. I think the team are ready to kick on now, but it's certainly a challenging fixture, and they kind of all are at the moment. After that, we go to Fir Park, and Dundee have had a decent season. They come to Celtic Park. I remember earlier in the season, that was a game we won 3-0, but I think that was like goalless at half time. So we've had our challenges, and then you've got like Livingston away and the derby to come up as well. So there's going to be twists and turns in this title race, and that's before we even get to the split, when in theory our fixtures should be slightly more forgiving. Maybe they'll have to come to Celtic Park. I think maybe have to go to Tynecastle, etc. again. I mean, that's a big one for us that's coming up. That could be... That looks like a really challenging match in a few weeks. And I know it's one game at a time at the moment, but, Tynecastle coming up in a few weeks, they're in form. That, to me, would be kind of the making of this team if they could find a way to win that game. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's like, we shouldn't really be in this situation, given the points lead we had at the start of the season, and given that Michael Beale basically did his best to hand us the league title, and somehow they're still in with a chance of winning the league. But it is like quite exciting as well. Do you feel that like it's going to be proper, like, exciting matches with everything on the line for the last couple of months of the season?
Aye, I can see a point with being exciting. I'd like it to be a bit more comfortable as well, but you look at it last season as well. Like, I know we were 9 points clear getting into the split, but even me and you never took anything for granted then. I mean, Rangers were still winning all our games last season, and I know that we didn't expect to drop points and all that, but even we were 9 points clear, I think, getting into that game against Hearts when we won the league at Tynecastle, and even me and you were taking nothing for granted. So yeah, I think we should be ultra cautious. Look, even if Rangers do drop points, I highly doubt it, but if they drop points this weekend and we capitalise and we win a game, like, I think it's one of the ones where I could see both teams like alternating and rotating from first and second all the way up to the split. I mean, I think they'll drop points. I think we'll drop points along the way. I guess it is in a weird, perverse way exciting, but I know me, I'm going to have to probably get a blood pressure checked every few weeks, because you know the way I can be with these matches as well. You're talking to a guy that in Angie's first season, when we effectively went 10 points clear after we beat St Johnstone 7-0, I took a photo pretty much saying that's the league done and dusted, and within like 10 minutes I deleted it in a panic, thinking that's going to come back and bite me. So yeah, this is the type of paranoid individual I am, Hamish. But I mean, it's going to be one of the ones where I think we're going to have to go to Celtic Park and get right behind the team, and every goal is going to count. Could come down to goal difference in the end. Every clean sheet is going to count. So we're going to be in a position where, like, if Joe Hart makes like a save, like, would usually be pointless when we're 2-0 up or something at 89 minutes. Usually we'd be like, oh, fair enough, Bosch, Flimshaw. But now we could be celebrating that like a goal or something. So I can see everything's to play for. And that's what a football season's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, I sense that the support are really kind of up for it now. I think a few weeks ago, after that Aberdeen game, there was some people kind of had a little bit of a defeatist attitude, and I understand it to an extent. Like, it looked like we were maybe going to, go off a cliff, and our season was going to, implode. But I think the team, albeit that we were terrible at Easter Road, like so bad, the fact we found a way to win that, and based on Sunday, the team has a bit of fight about them. And I think it's, the support are kind of mirroring that now. And the goal difference point is a really good one. I mean, title races don't often go down to goal difference. Chances are it still probably won't this season, because you obviously need the teams to be level in points. But we need to be like, if we go up in a game, we need to be going for more goals, basically, because I do not want to end up losing a league title on goal difference because we've like not been going for more goals and not kicking on, because that's the one thing this season, the amount of times we have gone ahead and in the second half kind of dropped off and allowed teams back into it. I think even like daft things like that Kelly goal you spoke about, like, that's a game last season we'd probably have won like 3-0, 4-0 rather than 3-1. So goal difference could be massive. Don't know if you want to talk about this. Rumours online, I saw a few tweets of Celtic receiving a healthy allocation, possibly close to 3,000 for the next derby at Ibrox. We don't know if there's anything in this at all. Seems to just be a tweet online I saw, but certainly people are talking about it. That would be good. I mean, again, we'll get disagreement in the chat. Everyone's got their own opinion. For me, it would be good having a big support there. and kind of boosting the atmosphere of derby games that have become quite subdued, I would say.
Yeah, very quick point on it, because I know it is just rumours, and I heard the same thing as well. I didn't see it online, of course, because I'm anti social media, as you know, Hamish. But yeah, I got a couple of messages about it. I think more numbers are needed for both sets of fans, at both grounds. That's just the way I feel about it. Going to these games at Celtic Park, with the 750, right, it's better than nothing. But with no opposition fans there as well, it's just ain't the same. I don't know how Rangers fans feel about it. It could be completely opposite. It's fair enough, but from my point of view, I think you do need a bigger allocation for both sets of fans. It's just better for the fixture in general. But aye, it is just a rumour now. I guess there's nothing solid on it, so that is my official stance. And still, until there's anything solid, then I'll have more of an opinion. Right now, don't care.
Fair enough. Mikey Johnson scored for West Brom. Did you see that? He scored after 30 seconds,
No,
apparently, against Cardiff, who have what former two Celtic players in their starting lineup.
is it Nathaniel Phillips and David Turnbull?
It is indeed lots of pace in there.
Uh,
What do you make of
two
Mikey
two
Johnson? I
fans'
mean,
favourites,
it's
Amish. Two fans' favourites.
I know. I guess you could add Mikey Johnson into that as well. Um, he's probably not going to make it with us, but it's just strange how he kind of goes in these loan spells and seems to kind of kick on the minute he goes away from Celtic. There's some
I think
collection into it. Johnston, Turnbull, and Phillips all on the same pitch.
I think as well a lot of that is down in terms of talent and everything. I don't think that's in question. I think the guy's clearly a talented player, very skillful player, but a lot of it's down to mindset and about the pressure, coping with that, and the expectation. Some you can have all the skill and all the talent in the world. We've seen it with some Celtic players, but you've got to remember the fans are demanding if you've got that talent to beat a player every game, to make the right decision every game. And I will say in Michael Johnson's defence, when I have watched them this season, aye, okay, the abuse is a bit over the top, sometimes personal, but he has had some shockers too, and he's really let the team down on occasion as well. I just think with Michael Johnston, it's a mentality thing more than anything, I'm afraid. So at the same time, happy to see him do well for West Brom, happy to see him scoring, but I think he's the type of player that realistically needs to move away from Celtic for the sake of his own career. I think if he does that, you'll probably notice a happier and more productive player.
Did you say in Mikey Johnson's defence and then say he has been terrible this season?
Oh, did I? It's a classic for me, innit? It's a classic for me. I mean, oh man, that is proper big Alan Brazil stuff right here.
Yes, officials for the game against Kelly, by the way, you'll be delighted to know the referee, Mr. John Beaton, is in on Saturday. Assistant refs Callum Spence and David Dunn. Fourth official is Peter Stewart, that's a new name. VAR is Willie Collum, God, they're all out. And assistant VAR, Dougie Potter. Is there much else happening? Stevie, what else is on your mind with regards to Celtic, be it player or fan or
No,
anything?
see when you brought up the split fixtures, it's quite interesting to see now that the split is still up in the air, right? I think we're definitely going to be playing Rangers, we're going to be playing Hearts, and I feel Kilmarnock will make it. I think St Mirren too, but that sixth place is quite interesting because you've got slugging it out are Motherwell, Aberdeen, Hibs, and Dundee. Now Dundee have got a 3 point lead on Hibs, 4 point lead on Motherwell and Aberdeen. But you know what these teams are like. Like you wouldn't be shocked if Dundee blew it and lost 3 games in a spin. And then obviously turned up against us in midweek, of course. But that's what all these teams do. Each other, they all take points off each other. I mean, fair play Hearts look as if they're actually properly, beating the rest now. And they're comfortably the third best team in the country. So much so, as I say, that I'm genuinely worried about going to Tynecastle. So you can use the terrified part of there. I think that'll be a real struggle. But no, I think it's going to be interesting to see who is in sixth place towards. Well, with the last week, I think that last week we play St Mirren at home, don't we? So it'll be interesting to see who gets that one because we could have another game against Aberdeen or something, or another match against Hibs, and all of a sudden, I know you were saying that the title running is a wee bit easier because of the teams that
Yeah.
we face, but you take Dundee out of there, you add on Hibs and you add on Aberdeen, and automatically, home and away, that becomes a far trickier challenge.
Yeah, so I think you're right. I think obviously ourselves, Rangers, Hearts are all guaranteed top six. I think Kelly and St Mirren, yeah, I mean St Mirren are six ahead of Dundee, but they have played a game more. I do think St Mirren and Kelly will probably finish top six, and as you say, my money would probably be in Aberdeen, just given they've got Neil Warnock, and I think he might get a decent tune out of them. They've probably got the maybe the third or fourth best squad in the country, so they are underperforming this season, Aberdeen. So if they were to finish sixth, just off the top of my head, we would be due to have Rangers at home, we'd be due to have Hearts at home, would be at Rugby Park again, which after the split would be the fear, but could also be, the making of this team again. St Mirren, I think we'd be due them away, I think, and say Aberdeen, we'd be due them at home possibly, which would kind of work out in terms of the fixture. But if they need to kind of flip a match, they'll probably do that. But it's going to be one of those seasons where there's real scrutiny on the split fixtures. Last year there wasn't really because the title was over, but I think this year it's going to be going down to the wire. I mean, I've got this weird feeling in the back of my mind it is going to go down to the final match of the season. Do you share that, or will it be sorted before then?
Oh, it might not be the final game. Could be like the second last or something. I think it's going to go on way past the split. Like, look at Rangers' form. Since Clement's came in, that's no accident. As I did say, the guy's a good manager, and I think he's already won titles over in Belgium, so he'll know what it takes. He knows what a title race is all about. So does Brendan Rodgers as well. That's the other thing to take into it. So I think it's two managers that know how to win titles, know how to get over the line when all the pressure's on. And yeah, I think it's definitely going to go past the split. It's hard to call it now if it is going to go down to the last day or not. It really is. But there's just nothing between the teams to the point where right now, if you ask me who's the favourite, for me, it's a straight 50-50. Straight 50-50 down the line. Don't think we're in a better position than them. Don't think they're in a better position than us, especially, as I say, I assume they're going to win against Ross County tomorrow. So, aye, we'll know maybe at the end of the month, we'll know mid-March before the international break what the percentage of the us like more likely to win the league is. But for now, I just can't call it straight 50-50. And that's that. Sorry, I'm right on the fence with it.
I wonder what the supercomputer is saying at the moment, eh? The boffins, what the boffins have come up with.
I love that. I love that tabloid part. Yeah, the supercomputer. I
Yeah.
think the supercomputer not say in Angie's second season. I think when Van Bronckhorst was still the manager, they were going to win it or something. I could be wrong. I could be wrong before Van
Yeah.
Bronckhorst gets sacked. I think the supercomputer comes up with all sorts of nonsense, though, doesn't it? But does it even exist, Hamish? Who knows? I think, we'll just blame the boffins at Clydesdale House or wherever they're kept.
Right, Stevie, it's been great to have you back on. Not a huge amount happening during this midweek, but we thought we'd get you on, or for a chat about the title race, because that's what's on people's minds at the moment. People, I'm sure, will be delighted to see you back, and I know I'm going to be in GIGPOD later this week as well, which should be fun. We'll hopefully get you back on for a chat on the channel. Any last thing you want to say? Any message to the now dwindling numbers on Celtic AM?
All I can say is for everybody that said, "Where is he? Oh, I miss him." Well, I hope he's all right. I think after watching the last half hour of this or so, they'll be solely regretting any positive messages they sent you, Hamish. So I am glad to ruin your wonderful wee cushy life in Australia, and I hope to ruin it again very soon.